This is the Louie T Network.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to lockdown coverage, week number 3 in the National Football League. The Atlanta Falcons taking on the Detroit Lions. This was a marquee matchup for me in week 3. This was one of those games I circled on the week 3 calendar and said, we're going to find out a lot about both of these teams. And I feel like we did exactly that in this football game. Now, that being said, this was one whale of a game. All right, both teams battled. Both teams left it all out on the field. And when it was done, the Atlanta Falcons were victorious. Now, it ended in a slew of controversy, but at the end of the day, I don't care how you get it, just get it. And the Falcons found a way yet again to win. It hasn't been pretty to start the season off, especially the 2 road ones, but they're 3-0, and that's what the good teams in this league do. They find a way to win. And I thought I would walk away more impressed with the Lions just off of the stats in this game, despite the scoreboard stating that the Lions lost this game. I thought I was going to walk away more impressed with the Lions than I was with the Falcons after this game. And after actually sitting out and watching the game, that's false. I walked away more impressed with the Falcons and what they were able to do and how they were able to go into Detroit, into the Lions' den, and come out with a W. So we're going to talk about that here in a second, and we'll get to all of your comments at the end. And if you're out there watching and you want your comment read, use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read at the end of this breakdown. If you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content in 2017 and beyond. We're changing the game. Want you to help us do that by simply hitting the subscribe button and becoming a member of the Louie T Network. I've got a bunch of social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All of those are in the description down below. Go ahead, follow me and like those subsequent pages. And also, if you would like to donate to the channel Louie T Network, there's a way you can do that as well. The link is in the description. Also, I will talk more about that at the end of this video. But let's get to the proceedings this evening. Let's talk about this marquee matchup in week number 3. A lot of people saw these 2 teams on the up and up, and this was a game that was going to separate the 2 of them. And ultimately, you never know what these early season matchups will amount to later on in the season. So if you're a team like the Lions that have huge aspirations of potentially being a Super Bowl contender, and you know the Falcons have already been where you want to go, and you may have to get through this team to get where you want to go at the end of the day, you might as well go ahead and beat them now, just in case you guys end up with the same record and it comes down to a tiebreaker at the end of the season. You just never know. And so in these types of situations, you got to try to win these games, and the Falcons found a way to get it done, and that's what the good teams in this league do. And we'll start with the Falcons in this game. I was really impressed with this Falcons offense. And despite the 3 interceptions, if you watch the game, 2 of them tipped off the hands of Falcon receivers. The one that Mohamed Sanu had tip off his fingers was probably the most egregious of the 3 interceptions in terms of not being his fault and his receiver just letting him down. The other one that tipped off, I want to say it was Austin Hooper's hands. That was too much hot sauce to go on that one. Matt Ryan put way too much hot sauce for him to be as close as he was. He was under duress. He panicked, and he put too much sauce on that one. He needed to take the hot sauce off of that one, and maybe that's a catch. But in any event, tips off his fingers, and it's picked off by big play Slay. And the first one was definitely his fault. The pick 6 to Quinn. He stared it down. Quinn read his eyes, took him straight to the football, and he did the rest. But all in all, I thought he was outstanding in this game. And they did a good job of mixing it up, run, pass. I thought the running game was exceptional. That was probably the biggest takeaway from this particular game for me with the Falcons, is that the run game looked strong in this game, and it looked like shades of last year with Kyle Shanahan. The only thing you're missing from last year's offense is two things, actually, that you're missing from last year's offense, and that's the explosiveness, that one play, one hit a quitter ability where Julio Jones will get you for 66 on the first play of the game. Teams aren't going for that right now. Like you tried it early in the game, and really it wasn't even a shot play. It was more of a, hey, Julio, I need help. Bail me out, double coverage. I'm throwing it up. Make a play for me, please. And it ended up being incomplete. But you're missing the one-hitter quitter ability like you had last year to just hurt somebody with a Gabriel or a Julio 66-yard touchdown on one play. And the second thing you're missing is the ability of these running backs to hurt you out of the backfield. That was a huge staple of this offense last year. You could get it from Coleman. You could get it from Freeman. It didn't matter which one of the men you got it from. You were getting it from one of those guys out of the backfield. They could hurt you in a number of ways, not just out of the backfield as rushers, but also as pass receivers. And you're seeing that to an extent with Freeman. That was a hell of a catch. He took a shot from Glover Quinn over the middle of the field and still held on to the ball on the third down on that first possession that led to the Mohamed Sanu check 1-2-1-2. Guess who? Mohamed Sanu touchdown. But it's still not the same as it was last year. Maybe it will, maybe it will never be. But in any event, this offense and the way they ran the football was shades of last year, and that was awesome. Because I didn't think the Lions were going to give it up on the ground the way that they did, and you just gutted them on the ground. Freeman went for over $1 and some change in this game. Coleman had his fair share of runs in this game. I thought it was an aggressive approach on the ground, and I thought it was a very impressive performance on the ground from the Falcons. So that was a huge takeaway for me on that side of the ball. They were able to score points. Matt Bryant he's still the man. God damn, that old man is still busting them down from 40, 50, 55, you name it, he's doing it. That's what he does. He's Mr. Automatic, and it's nice to have that kind of reassuring field goal kicker that you send him out on the field, you're getting 3 points, or you're getting an extra point. Whatever you send him out there to do, he's going to do it. And that has to be reassuring as a Falcons fan. And then on the defensive side of the football, I was actually really thoroughly pleased at what I saw. And this is really a culmination of the first 3 weeks of the season for me. Outside of Tariq Cohen tearing you a new asshole, and really, you couldn't have known what you were getting yourself into. There wasn't enough Tariq Cohen tape for you to know what this guy was. Like I said, you were the test dummy for the rest of the league. You allowed the rest of the league to find out who Tariq Cohen was, and it had to happen on your watch because you were first. Other than Tariq Cohen and the problem that he presented to you in week 1, you've been outstanding defensively to the point where I'm convinced that the Falcons are a better team this year than they were last year because the defense is better than the team was last year. This time last year, we were questioning whether this Falcons defense was too young. And remember, that was my narrative last year. My narrative is you're relying on too many young players to get it done defensively, and that's going to be a problem. Come later on in the season, you're going to look back and you're going to have lost 4 or 5 games because this defense was too young. And it looked like that was going to be the case for much of last year, and then the offense just went bananas at the midpoint of the season, and the defense was allowed, because the offense was so good, to kind of figure it out on the fly. You were scoring 45 on New Orleans and 46 on Carolina or whatever it was, and you were putting up so many points that it really didn't matter that the defense was trying to figure it out. And so this year, I feel like even if the offense doesn't have their fastball, defensively, this is such a physical group. How about Deion Jones on that swing route on a third down to one of my favorite third down backs in the league, Theo Riddick, and him just smashing him? No, sir. Not on my watch. How about Tack McKinley getting his first sack? I still don't think he's an elite, dynamic edge rusher, but he helps. He's physical against the run. He helps. And this run defense, they're stifling people, man. They're stifling teams on the ground. Green Bay had one good possession, the opening possession on the ground. That was it. They went to sleep. And like I said, I'm throwing that Chicago game out the window because you had no clue what you were getting yourself into with Tariq Cohen. No clue what the human joystick had in store for you. You didn't know. You couldn't have known. So since then, Your run defense has been A1. You went on the road to Detroit, and I know the Lions don't run the ball, and I'm going to talk about that when I talk about the Lions, but still, to go out there and shut it down and say, all right, Stafford, throw it 45 times and beat us. Good luck. That's impressive. And like I said, I want to see when they come up against a team that can actually run the football and if I'll be singing the same tune, because I do think that this Falcons defense is light and you can move them off the spot. That being said, no one's done it yet this season. And until I see someone do it, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. This defense is better. And of course it was going to get better with Trufant coming back. Okay, not having him and just relying solely on your other corner last year, that hurt. That really hurt. And now that you got two corners and Alford on one side and Trufant on the other side, it allows you to do some creative things defensively if you want. And so, with Keanu Neal and those guys at the cornerback position, and I love Poole in the slot, in the nickel, this defense is better. And the young guys are coming of age, and you're adding more team speed defensively with the other young kid you drafted out of LSU, Riley. I just like the physicality. I like the speed and the ferocity of this defense. And I like what you're doing up front along the defensive line and how you're stopping teams from running the football, making them one-dimensional, and seeing if they can beat you through the air, and no one's been able to do it yet. The Lions came close, but they had help. And so that was an impressive road victory. I thought I would walk away from this game more intrigued by Detroit, and I walked away from this game saying Atlanta's the real deal again. And I thought they would be. I wasn't one of these people out here talking about Super Bowl hangover. No such thing exists. I told you that in my assessment of the whole NFC South division, that there's no such thing as a Super Bowl hangover. The Carolina Panthers, they weren't built to keep doing it over and over again. Like, they could have made it back to the playoffs, but that whole Josh Norman fiasco and the way that they blew that thing up, they were destined to fall from grace. This Falcons team is built to continue to go back to the playoffs year in, year out. Barring injury, they're geared up. They're put together in such a way that they should be a good team in the NFC for the next 4 to 5 years strong. And if they continue to play like this, they're going to be a tough out in the NFC. And the road to the playoffs will once again go through Atlanta. But it's a young season. We're only 3 weeks in. But that was an impressive road win. I mean, the Lions were playing good football. A lot of people like the Lions. A lot of people still like the Lions. And you went in there and you put up 30, and you didn't do it with the aid of a special teams return. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Everybody wants a punt or a kickoff return for a touchdown. Everybody wants a defensive score. But that was all offense. That was all special teams. That was all you. And so that was impressive. That was an impressive road victory for the Atlanta Falcons. Hate the way the game ended. And that's the second time they've allowed. And this defense, they've been, but they haven't broken yet. At some point, I think they're going to break because they allowed the Bears down there, and the Bears dropped a couple of opportunities and should have scored and should have beat the Falcons, but they didn't. Could have, would have, should have. They didn't. And the Lions went down the field on this defense just like Chicago did, had opportunities, and they weren't able to get it done. And they blew an opportunity, and the Falcons come away victorious here as well. So this defense is bending, but they haven't broke, and that's the key to why the Falcons have started this season 3-0. And to be honest with you, we still haven't had a huge Julio Jones explosion game where he goes off for 175 and 2 touchdowns, including a 60-yard slant to the crib and another 45-yard deep ball for a touchdown. We still haven't had one of those games yet. Y'all getting hit with Gabriel. Okay, Gabriel is blasting off on cats right now. Mohamed Sanu, check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Guess who? Mohamed Sanu is getting off on cats right now. You haven't even had Julio go off. So that's a testament to the balance that this team possesses right now offensively and how much better that this defense is. So let's get to the Lions in this game. And I want to start with the defense because you were missing arguably one of your better defenders in the middle and Jared Davis to a concussion. That hurt you. I think that hurt you more so in the run game than anything else. And you gave up 100 on the ground, and I didn't expect that. And maybe there's a direct correlation there to the absence of Jared Davis. I don't care. This is the NFL. Guys get injured, next man up. And so you got to find a way to circumvent that injury. You didn't. You gave up a ton of yards on the ground. You made it easier for Matt Ryan to survive in the pocket, and he was able to get you in this game with some screens and things of that nature, and they were able to hurt you. And it's a little disappointing that you gave up 30 at the crib, but after looking back at some of your games, this defense they're good enough. They created turnovers in this game. The defense, they did what they needed to do. They gave this team a chance to win. As a matter of fact, this defense put this team in a position to win this football game. So while I was disappointed with the run defense, creating 3 turnovers off of interceptions, 1 to the crib to get you back into the game, and the other 2 to set you up in some prime field goal or scoring position. Damn, a field goal. I mean, one of those picks, the one that tipped off the tight end's hands and into the hands of Big Play Slay, that one should have easily turned into a touchdown, and instead you had to settle for a field goal. And those are the types of plays that come back to haunt you. Got to find a way to get in the end zone. And I thought the defense set this Lions team up in a position to try to win a game against a tough opponent at the crib, and the offense didn't take full advantage. And so I go from the defense to being impressed with them against the pass, and a little salty about their run defense in this game, to special teams. Matt Prater has been just outstanding and a great get for you. Remember, and it just seems such a long time ago. Remember when you couldn't find a field goal kicker to save your life after Jason Hanson finally retired? Remember you went through, there was a stretch where you were struggling and you were losing ball games because your field goal kicking game was so abysmal. And remember when Prater first got there, he was a part of the problem too. And I told you, stick with Prater. He's the best thing you had since Jason Hanson. Remember that? And you haven't had a problem since. Seems such a long time ago, doesn't it? Because he's been so good for you. How many kicks over 50 has it been now? What's the streak at now? 12, 14, 15 in a row? It's ridiculous, whatever it is. In any event, he's been outstanding. He banged home another 55-yarder in this game, hit a 52 as well. This guy's amazing. And it's not just inside, okay? He just hit a 58-yarder versus the Giants outside. So miss me with, his kicks come inside. Well, he's doing it outside too. And I remember there was a time where I thought it was just because he kicked in Mile High for the Denver Broncos. No, he's just got a big leg. This guy can kick. And so special teams has been outstanding for you this season. Defense has been outstanding for you. You had Jamal Agnew get the punt return versus the Giants to help you score in that game. And Prater's been outstanding. Defense has been outstanding. Gave you a chance in this game. Let's get to the offense, because I had a revelation in this game. I had an epiphany about this Lions offense. You know what unit is holding this team back? Nope, not the defense. Nope, not special teams. You know who's not pulling their weight? It's this damn offense. I just realized that in this game. This offense is not pulling its own weight. The defense did them a huge solid with 3 turnovers and a pick 6. So you take that pick 6 out of the equation. You scored 19 points in this game offensively. Not to mention, you probably could take another 6 off the scoreboard if you don't count the 2 turnovers that they helped you set up field position for, that settled into field goals, that turned into field goals for you. So then you look at it and you say, you scored a whole damn 13 points on your own offensively. Let's take it back a week ago versus the Giants on the road. Special teams runs back a touchdown, and you score 17 points as an offense. That's not good enough. And then you go back a week further and you look at that Cardinals game. And yeah, there was a little bit of an outburst in the second half, but you were struggling offensively in that game. And a pick 6 in that game kind of made the score look a little bit more lopsided than what it really was. And the defense created turnovers in that game. Remember, there was a fumble by David Johnson that really turned that game on its head. That was deep in your Arizona Cardinals territory that set up a touchdown. This defense has been carrying this offense. Special teams has been carrying this offense. This offense is not carrying its own load. And I realized that in this game. Too many times the defense set you up in prime field position and you did nothing with it. Go look at Matthew Stafford's numbers. Those numbers aren't cute. Those numbers aren't pretty. Those numbers aren't gaudy. He threw it 45 times and he still didn't crack 300 yards. As a matter of fact, I think he averaged 5 yards per attempt or something along those lines. That's putrid. This run game is an atrocity. Stop making excuses for the lack of a run game. You got all your stuff back there now. Theo Riddick is there. Double A is there. You still got Zach Zenner, the Z-Man. I don't want to hear a goddamn thing about why you can't run the football. Yet, you still stunk it up on the ground in this game, and it all falls on Stafford. Again, because you have no balance. I thought I saw the makings of a semblance of a run game against the Giants on Monday Night Football. I was excited just because you're stuck with the run. I didn't get that in this game. I got an abandonment of the run, and hey, Matthew Stafford, we just paid you all this money. Go win us a football game. He tried, but he didn't get it done. How many drives stalled out in this game and you had to settle for field goals? How many times is Matt Prater going to bail you out with a 55-yard field goal because you can't make it past the 30-yard line? So you got to settle for a 55-yard field goal, a 58-yard field goal, a 52-yard field goal. You know why that streak is so damn long? Because he has to keep kicking these long-ass field goals because these drives keep stalling out. Translation, you're not getting in the end zone. I figured it out. This offense isn't carrying its own weight. And until this offense steps its game up, I can't look at this Detroit Lions team as a serious contender in the NFC. Because when you come up against the Packers, you're going to do what you did last year. You're going to lose because you're not going to be able to score enough points. When you come up against the Vikings and they put the stranglehold, I mean put both hands around your neck of your offense and strangle it, and you're only reduced to scoring 10, you're going to lose. Hell, when the Chicago Bears show up and Cohen's able to go off on you and Jordan Howard's able to run it and they're able to sprinkle in a couple of plays here and there and you can't find a way, because that Bears defense, I'm going to tell you right now, there ain't no pushover. And you show up with this mediocre offense that can't get it in the end zone, you might lose there too. So I left this game with a revelation, with an epiphany of sorts. This offense isn't carrying its own weight. And until it does, it's going to hold this Lions team back, and they'll just be a trendy pick, a nice story like they are every year. They'll go 10-6, 9-7, either barely make the playoffs, or in this case, this year, I don't think it's going to happen like that, or you'll miss the playoffs, and you'll be looking back and saying, man, what happened? And I can tell you right now, you have no one to blame but this offense if it continues down the path that it's going right now. It's only 3 weeks in. This offense can get better. They can get it going. They can start scoring some points. But something has to give. Something has to give. In any event, Falcons get it done. Dramatic fashion, 30-26 over the Detroit Lions. Remain perfect, do the Falcons at 3-0. Lions dropped their first game of the season. Someone's O had to go, and it had to be the Lions, who are now 2-1 on the season. Let's get to some of your comments if there's anyone out there with comments to this video. Buffalo pregame says, do you think the Bills have any chance to beat the Falcons next week? I don't know where the game is. I haven't looked at the schedule. If that game is in Buffalo, absolutely. I'm assuming the game is in Atlanta because they've already had 2 road games and only 1 home game. But I could be wrong, and it could be in Buffalo. If it's in Buffalo, absolutely. If it's in Atlanta, no chance. Lucas Z says, I think the offense is not as clean yet because of the new offensive coordinator, but the defense looks pretty good over 3 games. Usually 3 turnovers should be a loss, but they won anyway. And that's pretty much what I said, that this offense is coming along. They still are missing the explosive, dynamic plays, even though you could count that Taylor Gabriel screen as an explosive play. They're still missing the deep ball over the top. The sort of that fluidity that they had over the years with Kyle Shanahan. They're sort of missing that, but they're still effective. And this defense is much better. I agree. And I said that already. Absolutely. Bossaholic says, a great man once said, just win, baby. Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Harbaugh the Great says, this one hurts. 3 turnovers and still couldn't get the job done. You're right. And it should hurt because your defense did everything it could to put your offense in a position to win this game, and they could not pull the trigger. They couldn't get the job done. They couldn't close the show. They couldn't find a way to finalize a W that they literally did all the work. They wrote up all the drafts, all the copies, submitted them to you, and all the offense had to do was put a stamp on it that said stamp of approval, and they couldn't do it. And I feel bad for special teams and defense because I thought they got it done in this game and the offense. And give credit to the Falcons defense for that. Let's not act as if the Falcons defense had nothing to do with that. They couldn't get it done because the Falcons defensively stepped up and forced the issue and they weren't able to overcome. Archangel says, rise up, Louie, I'm back. That's what's up, man. He also says, go Falcons, and to think we did it with a lot of injuries on our defense. Blackbird Bliss says, let the haters hate. Falcons 3-0, top 5 in scoring in the NFL. Other fans are making excuses while Falcons are playing good teams and winning. Facts. Can't disagree with that at all. At all. Jordan Bryant says, LOL, Lou, you said you didn't like Prater. Go back to last year. You didn't like Prater. Don't flap now. Check your videos from Vikings last year. I told you not to get rid of Matt Prater. I didn't tell you to get rid of Matt Prater. You haven't had a field goal kicker since Jason Hanson. Why would I tell you that? I told you that Prater was going to probably blow you a game or two, but I said you better not get rid of him unless you got something better. I thought he would blow a game or two because remember, when you first got Matt Prater, don't sit here and act as if Matt Prater wasn't missing kicks because he was. He was damaged goods when you got him. He was not clean on or off the field when you got him. And when he first came to Detroit, he was still missing kicks and you were still losing games. So I said last year, I probably said at some point, he might miss a kick or two for you, but I told you, you better not let him go because you don't have anything better. So don't get it confused. All right. Archangel says, we threw all those picks, not all Matt Ryan's fault, by the way. 2 of them were wide receivers' fault, still counted against Matt, though, and we still won this game. Basically, sentiments that I echo. If you're Detroit, you get 3 turnovers that you forced, you got to find a way to win again. And these were some great turnovers. One went to the crib, one was inside the 25, and the other one, I think, was on the Falcons side of the field. So all 3 of these set you up in position. One directly turned into points, and the other 2 put you in positions to score. You got to find a way to win. Got to find a way to win. Archangel says 3-0. Now we got to focus on the tough Bills team because we all know we cannot overlook them. Look at the Shockers last week. Absolutely. Anything can happen any given Sunday in the NFL. You know how it goes. Bossaholic says Falcons trying to kill us with these heart attack games and the GOP trying to get rid of Obamacare. Hashtag Falcons fan problems. Oh, well. Hey, look, man. As long as y'all winning, it's okay. You just keep grinning, man. You know how it is. Teams give you a little bit of a little heart palpitation here or there, man. Your heart might skip a beat. As long as they find a way to get it done, man, you're fine. You're fine. Falcons Fury says, hey, man, if we cut out them damn turnovers, it ain't close. Media need to calm down. Why are y'all still worried about what the media is saying? Y'all 3-0. Y'all went to the Super Bowl last year, and if y'all continue to find ways to win. Remember when the Panthers went 15-1? All their games weren't clean. There was some comebacks and some games they had to hold on. They were blowing teams out. It wasn't always clean, but it was effective. It was wins. That's all that matters at the end of the day. Aries Falcon says that PI on True Font should have been ruled uncatchable. I've seen a lot of passes that were ruled pass interference that could have been deemed uncatchable. Sometimes I don't even think they even give that into – they take that into consideration that it's uncatchable like they used to. If anything, it should have been like some kind of illegal contact holding or something because he did hack the man up. He did assault him, but in any event. Archangel says, it's good Matt got those turnovers out of the way. It's been a minute since he threw 3 picks or any picks. Now we can get back to business and learn from our mistakes. I hope it works that way because it don't always work that way. Okay, get your little interceptions out the way now so we can move on. He might have some more in his back pocket. And the Bills been picking teams off. So you better be careful next week. They got a rookie with 2 picks already. And E.J. Gaines had a pick last game as well. So they making plays. Falcons in the driver's seat while every other team in the NFC South is in child safety seats screaming, are we there yet? No, your team not there yet. Yeah, yesterday was a pretty good day for y'all, man. Panthers go down at the hands of the Saints, which you don't mind because I don't think you look at the Saints as a real threat in the division. And Tampa Bay went down as well, so it was a great day for you. You're the only undefeated team in the division now, and that's what you're looking for, man. If I'm the Falcons, I just worry about myself, honestly. That's what I always tell Redskins fans. Don't worry about what anybody else in the division is doing. It's nice if the Giants lose, if the Cowboys lose, if the Eagles lose, like all of the teams in the division did last week except for us. That's great. But at the end of the day, I could give a damn. If we lose, what does all that matter? Just take care of business. It'll all sort itself out. Stack them dubs up like bricks, and at the end of the season, we'll sort them all out, and we'll see if you got enough to call yourself division champs. You just keep winning and keep stacking them up like bricks, and at the end, if your brick pile is this high and everybody else's is down here, you know you got the job done. Falcons Fury says, I think Matt and Sark are running at 50% efficiency. By playoffs, they should have a good connection. That's always the hope, is that you get better as the season progresses, and as a wise man once told me, get better while winning. There's nothing better than improving and figuring out your mistakes and improving upon them, all the while still winning. There's no better feeling than that. And that's what the Falcons are doing right now. Archangel says, good to be back. Miss these talks, Louie. Enjoyed chopping it up with you and the fam about these skins. It's a big win for us, man, but this ain't about us right now. It's about your boys getting it done on the road. Falcons Fury says, man, after all these upsets, we 3-0. I'll take it, Lou. I'll take some extra cheese, too. No doubt. Hey, look, that's what I'm saying. It's like people be taking these wins for granted. You could have easily been the Steelers. Do you know how close you were to being the Steelers in week 1? But you weren't. You won. So celebrate. Okay? You could have easily been 2-1 or 1-2 right now. But you're 3-0. So it doesn't matter how it looks. Take it and run with it. You got the dub. There's no reason to apologize for being 3-0, bro. None whatsoever. Falcons Fury says, Bills a big trap game. Got to strap up. Looks like one of those, finally give me a game. Not so fast. This is an NFL team. Don't get got, basically, is what he's saying. If you're at home, you're going to win that game. If you're in Buffalo, they can definitely jump up and bite you. No doubt in my mind. But that's going to do it here for lockdown coverage, week number 3, Falcons, Lions. Great football game between two teams that I think are going to be good when it's all said and done. How good? We got a whole 13 more games to find out just how good these two teams are going to be. I think I know what the Falcons are. I still got questions about the Lions, but in any event, both of these teams played a hell of a game. Falcons found a way to get it done at the end of the day, 30-26, remain unbeaten at 3-0 in the season. Meanwhile, the Lions dropped their first game of the year, now 2-1 in the season. Still atop the NFC South division, now tied with Green Bay at 2-1 and Minnesota. However, this is still a good Lions football team. Just how good, I think, is going to depend on the offense. As I stated earlier, they need to get their ass in gear if they want to maximize the amount of talent that this Lions roster has. That's going to do it for your man Louie T here. Thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. Got 2 more games to break down, including a thriller out in Tennessee, Seahawks and Titans. And also wrapping up lockdown coverage with Chargers hosting Chiefs. If you want to donate to the Louie T Network, here's how you do so via PayPal. There's the link right there. The link is also in the description below. So all you have to do is click on the link. It'll take you straight to the PayPal account where you can donate. And again, doesn't matter how big or how small, I appreciate it all. And so if you can't donate, it's still fine. All I ask you to do is continue to support and view the channel as you've already been doing. And for those of you who haven't subscribe to the Louie T Network, and continue to like, share, and just be the viewers that you've been all along. And I can continue to appreciate your presence on this channel. So, of course, I've got more football coming your way. I'll be back with Titans and Seahawks. I'll see you in a bit, as always. See you in a little while. Have a good one.